Hi guys, welcome back to another continuing episode of our build here of the Haunted Mansion. And today, as you might be able to hear, we have a hologram. That's right, I managed to get it all downloaded, it's all compiled, whatever you want to call it, and now we have it. Oh, we have it upside down. Give me a sec. I should have planned for that. That's okay. It's cool. But now you can see. There we go. Oop. There we go. Now we got it. It's all fixed now. Technicalities. That's cool though. But now you can see how we do this. So now we have the hologram, and I think it looks pretty cool. And as you can hear, this is from the Haunted Mansion itself. That's Madame Leota doing her little incantation that she does. And there is Constance Hatchaway. For those of you who've been to the Haunted Mansion in Florida and used to be in California, till, well, let's just say forces that I don't agree with decided to change it for reasons that we'll just let be. But at any rate, her stories, of course, where it's she murdered her 5 husbands with a hatchet. So, and we mixed a few other things in there. As you can see, there's ghosts and there's some spookier effects. Now I did add, and I'll be showing this a little bit here in just a second. I did add some this green. It's almost like an envelope that or a file folder that you would use for storing documents and such, and you would use the color to denote, okay, this is pertaining to this subject. Well, I cut pieces of it and use it like clear acetate and put it in the windows to give it that green kind of glow. And so what I plan on doing here is, well, now that you can see the effect, I mean, you gotta admit, this is cool, okay? Even if I left this with that battery pack, just lighting the Haunted Mansion itself, it's a cool effect. And like I said, I have the overhead lights on. I have my magnifier light on up here to help give a little extra. And now on camera, you'll see that little white that appears when there's a ghost or whatever. It shows the frame of what the... But you can't see that. Honestly, when I look at it without the camera, here in person, you don't see that. You see the image, and that is it. So, like I said, I'm happy with the effect. It's just a matter of, you got to adjust how the iPad is sitting on its stand over here. But aside from that, that's all I have to do when I go to a show. So we're gonna stop this. I gotta see this. This is cool though. So I mean, you gotta look at it and you just say, I mean, I'm impressed with just I find these videos. I found a way to download them, and it's just it just works. I, I just can't say anything else about it. And it goes along almost perfectly with, the mansion itself. And we're going to stop this now, and I'm going to show you guys. Let me put my microphone on so I'm not holding it. I'm going to stop this video and turn it this way so it doesn't project down on there. Okay, so that's the video. And it's much longer than that. Okay, the actual each sequence runs about 19-ish, 19-20 minutes. Okay, and I managed to just pile one on top of the other, so that it will run for, I know it's over 9. It's probably closer to 9.5 hours, which, as I said in the last video, 9.5 hours is more than enough time to, when you get to a show like I was just down at Altoona. Yeah, woo, wow, okay, there we go. Now you can see me a little bit better. So I was down in Altoona, and the start time down there is 8 o'clock. Show opens at 9. So you get there. I was getting there at 8 o'clock, ish. And I start this up. Now, the second day runs shorter, but I don't want to be going and having to monitor this thing. I want to, okay, I'm going to start it, and that's it. It's going to run, and I'm not going to worry about it. Now, if I took it to somewhere where, like I say, it's at a mall, we're there from, 8 in the morning till 9 at night or something like that, obviously I'm going to have to restart it. Can't make it, humongous. I mean, this is, when I looked at it, I think my computer was showing it was like almost 19 gigabytes, or almost 20, I should say, 20 gigabytes. That's a lot, okay? And for that iPad, I mean, that's only 128 gigabyte iPad. I had to clear out a ton of memory so that this thing would be able to, luckily for me, this is a spare. I don't use it really much for anything anymore, or very rarely. So for me to part and get rid of stuff off of there was not really an issue. Now, if it was my new one, you have to talk about that. Might have to do something different. Now, I had considered, and this is a cheaper route, okay, for anybody out there who wants to try to do this effect. It's, as you could see, and I've demonstrated and I've shown this, it's very simple. Okay, your hardest part is engineering the box, and then a place to set your device. Okay, and then getting a piece of plexiglass, or like this is a plastic, a clear plastic, and mounting all that. That's honestly, that's the hardest part. What you use for a device, I could have easily, and I looked these up too. You can get, like, say, just like an Android tablet. Okay, Android tablets are, for a decent amount of memory in them, $100. You buy the little expansion memory thing, those little cards. I forget what they call them. Not the SD cards, but something like that. Micro SD cards, something like that. All you have to do is download whatever you make on the computer, whether you're buying something from, one of these other places, and you're just gonna loop it, that, and it'll automatically do that on its own. or whatever, or download direct to the, buy it and just put it directly on the thing. That's cheap. I mean, that's a third of the price or more of an iPad. But like I said, I use what I have, and it works. That's the bottom line. It works. So let's get a little bit into what we're doing over here. So I'm going to take this out. I said I just have this in temporary because we're not quite there yet with what we're doing. Okay, so let me just remove that. Okay. So let's see if we can get in a little bit close. Oh no, we're already there. Okay. So let's move you up. Okay. So pardon the shakiness because I'm on a carpet. Okay. And we'll just bring this down a little bit. Maybe come over here. Okay, so let's get a little more light on the subject. Move the iPad out the way. And let's bring the light over here. And so now you can see a little bit better, and me a little bit less, which is fine because you want to see less of me anyway. I've gone ahead and I've weathered a little bit our Haunted Mansion. You can see, and now I've used a variety of techniques, okay? First thing I did was I took some, where's that? Yeah, okay. I took some of this white acrylic paint, okay? And I took a cup, red Solo cup. Okay, anyway, just put some in it, not a lot, you use your own judgment how much you put in there. And then just some hot water, took a brush, stirred it up real good, and just started painting over it. I tested it on the back first to see how it would look. Took a paper towel, wiped off the excess. Okay, so it left a little bit of white in some areas, and as you can see, like behind this, whatever this thing is supposed to be, decoration, whatever, there's still some white showing there, and several other places you can see. So that being done, that was really the only paint that I used. What I did then is come back with different colors of this weathering chalk stuff thing, whatever it is, I don't know, powder. This generic stuff that I bought on eBay, I don't even know what I paid for, probably not even $10. Mostly this brown and the black, as you can see, and that put a nice little, coloring on it. I did come back with some. Oh, I did. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Of course, the roof I did paint, and then when I was doing the weathering, some of the powder went up on the roof, and it actually looks pretty good. So I let that go. But then, I know these are also painted a gray. All these little, and this tier, this was painted a brown. But then, like I said, I went over the rest of it with just those chalks, or the powder, and that's how I weathered it and brought it to life. So let's talk about the scenery part. So we can turn this off. This was just temporary, just to light up the interior. So let's take this out of here so you can see what's going on. See, this is just the fairy lights. Okay. That's just temporary till I get the actual stuff in. So moving you guys in a little bit closer, and we're going to see if we can get this to cooperate a little bit. Okay, so let's point out the interior now. Okay, so here is our spooky trees that we made in episode 2. And there are some in the back. The ones in the back are not painted, but you're never going to see them not painted because it's too dark. So they just, they're back there, and that's all that matters. And you can see there are some flaws in the when I did the scenery material here along the sides, but like I said, that's something that the public is never going to see because it's a dark area, and their eyes are drawn to these trees in the front, the pathway, the building, and that's it. And or of course our special effect, the hologram. So what I did then, okay, now this is our piece of Homosote that we put in way back episode 1, I think, or 2. Might have been 3, I don't remember. Anyway, that's our raised platform, and I took the clay that I've been using and just kind of rolled it out and put it in slabs, and then built it up on those corners to hide the where the two pieces meet. Okay, and you can't really see it too well on here on where it hooks onto the sides. So I figured I'd let that go. It's already painted black. It'll be fine. After I got that in place where I wanted it, I planted the trees, put a little bit of glue in where the trees were so that they would stay, and then it was time to paint the whole area. So I got some of my acrylic paints, like a brown and a little bit of black and a couple other colors. No greens, absolutely no greens. And because I want this to look like late fall kind of thing. I haven't tried that yet, but I figured if I got these spooky trees, I don't want a lot of lush green grass. Okay, this is really nice because I went and I weathered that. Okay, it's not as pretty as the original. Okay, it's a little bit beat up, so we gotta make the terrain reflect that, complement it, if you will. So I went and just used some of this. Oh, get up there where you can see it. Just the earth, okay? And I then went in with a little bit, and if I got it handy, yep, that's the wrong one. This is the one. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. This yellow grass, okay? So you can see it's kind of spritzed in here and there. It tries to, complement the areas. There's not a lot, because I'll tell you what, it's potent. So you just sprinkle it on lightly. Now what I did first is I took some of our good old handy dandy Elmer school glue and made a coating of it. Okay, just took a brush, took a little paintbrush, well, bigger paintbrush I should say, and went all over the area there. Spread out the glue, put my turf in my usual way with the old teaspoon. Yep, that guy. And when I was satisfied with that, I used a spray bottle. Well, I put the yellow on, the yellow grass. When I was satisfied with how that looked, used my spray bottle with water and dish soap, broke the surface tension, and then came back, even though it was probably not necessary. I used this, no, that's not the right one, this one. You hear that little, it's got water in it. So I used like about a third of glue and filled the rest up with water, shook it really, really, really good. And then went over the whole area. Now, it was soaked. I mean, it was really, really soaked. So I went and took a fan, a little tiny fan, hung it up here on the top, and dried it for, I think it was like 2 hours, maybe closer to 3. But when I was done, I came in, I checked it, and it was dry. I mean, it was fine. And I mean, you could see it was puddled. So that fan really helped because I had it in an enclosed space and there was obviously no air circulation. So I tried doing that to help dry it, and it was like done like a couple hours. So that's basically where we are. Now, what I'm going to do here, in the middle here, I already have pre-drilled some holes. I'm going to be ordering a 4 lights, 2 packs of 2, from Amazon. They're for the Just Plug system, but I'm not going to use a Just Plug controller. I'm going to use one that's going to tap directly into our, remember we did that electrical drop? I had that in mind. We're going to use that electrical drop, and I'm going to be drawing track power, converting that track power to 3 volts, which is what those Just Plug lights run off of. And I'm going to buy Just Plug Nanos, 2 green and 2 soft white. The soft white ones are going to go probably inside the building. I'm going to look and see how this is going to work. I'm going to try the soft white ones in the building first. Reason being is because there's already green filters in there in the windows. But we'll see. I like to use the greens, like put one right about here by the tree on this side and somewhere by the tree on this side, to try to come in at 2 angles and just highlight the fronts of the building, okay, and draw people's attention to that, which is why, I mean, I didn't weather the backside at all. I mean, I'm going to show you guys, a little bit behind the curtain here. That's what the original looked like, okay? That is the original color on top. So I didn't even paint this part, because this from here, so if I flip it around, this is the angle that you're going to be viewing it constantly. You're never going to see the backside. Even if somebody's, walks behind, or, there's an open area behind the layout, the module, you're never going to see it because it's totally enclosed and you'll never see the back. So what's the point? What's the point of even painting the roof if you're never going to see it? That part of the building. So that's where we are as far as that goes. So the building, for my opinion, is done. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and redefine this pathway a little bit. I'm probably going to go along this edge here, and in the middle of it, I'm going to get some more of that clay and just make little, like 5 or 10 millimeter flat stones, if you want to call it that, to try and make like a walking path, because out along the front edge here, I'm going to be adding a fence with a gate. Now, I it's another Amazon order. Um, it looks like the old wrought iron uh, fencing. Like if you look like on the top here of the Haunted Mansion, there's like this, this would be like a black, like if you think about like a black fence and you got this ornamental stuff on it. That's how I plan on having this. It'll come along the front edge here, and I had to take out, there was clay in this area, and I had to cut it and scrape it out because it's going to be hard to get that fence to stay in there. It would just be a nightmare. So I figured I'm going to just come along even from side to side here, and it's going to be long enough, the piece that's coming or will be coming, and we're just going to install it at that time, put some new clay in there, weather it, do all our good stuff to it, and then once I get those rocks for that pathway put in, I'll paint those up. Like I said, I'll finish getting this area where I'll mark it so that I can finish getting that area with the scenery material, and it'll be done as far as that part goes. Now I will have to do, if you can see it, this front part, okay, in front of this track and the in-between area. So what I'll need to do there is I'll come along with some more of the probably clay, and just do a little bit of weathering there. Now I don't think I can make some, maybe some spooky trees. I'm not sure I want to put some spooky trees. We'll see. I'll see what strikes me at the time, because with the clay you got at least a day. You don't have to go through real with a drill or nothing like that. So you got a little bit of time to work with it, and I can whip out 2 or 3 trees in probably an hour, give or take. So if I want to make some, I can. Uh, and it won't be a big deal just to put them right in and it's done. But I think what I'm going to do, we'll see. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of greenery in there, and we'll, just to pacify it or whatever. I was thinking about putting a signaling system in there, like we did with the 1 triple module, but looking at it, I really don't have the clearance. Not so much on the outside rail, but on the inside rail, I'd have to be in here somewhere with it, and I just don't know if I would have enough, because it just doesn't, with the fence and all that, it's going to be a lot. So I may just have to say, you know what, we're not going to do that on this one, unfortunately. But I'm happy with it otherwise. It's so far, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's turning out pretty good so far. The main effect works fantastic, and once I get those lights put in it, we're on the downslide, okay? Because then I'll be able to, permanently glue the mansion into place, and I can get the glass, put the glass in, and the glass will be permanently mounted, and I'll be done with that part, and it's just a matter of wrapping it up on the outer edge and putting our ballast down. So that's really about it for this update. I will try and have a new one for you next week, but I think we might have to skip a week and do something different, only because trying to save a little money and use Amazon gift cards, and I'm waiting for them to show up, and then once you get them, you gotta go and you place the order, and who knows how long they take. So fingers crossed we make it for the next week, but I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope. Okay, so there probably won't be anything new until I get the lights here. That is the next step. Once I get the lights, then everything else will just go bam, 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 bam. Okay, and we'll be able to wrap this up. I am getting the materials for our next project. It's gonna be, well, let's give you a little clue. We're sticking with the theme park, but we're going a totally different direction. Um, that's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be neat. You're gonna want to come and check the next one out once I get that the materials started. We may jump to that, so just till I can get the lights for this, um, and then we'll wrap this up and we'll do the other one. So with that being said, like, share, subscribe, and I hope you've had a great time, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.